It's time for Recipe of the Day. This is the chicken and potato dinner of my dreams, and it will be of your dreams also. It is Greek inspired with lemon and oregano in there. It's made in one skillet. It's ready in under 35 minutes. And even though it's like a quick weeknight dinner, all done in one pan, dishes are easy, all of that, it feels really special without a lot of fuss. It's got the chicken, the lemon, the oregano I mentioned, the potatoes are right in there. There's a creamy sauce, and you wilt some spinach in there at the end, so there's even some extra veg. Perfect, right? So this recipe starts with 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. They're about 6 ounces each. If yours are big honkin' chicken breasts, you can cut them in half kind of on a diagonal. Then they kind of look like little chicken breast portions still with like a narrower end and a wider end, or you can butterfly them. So right through like with your knife parallel to the cutting board. And then you end up with those thinner cutlets. They'll cook more quickly, but that is what you could do if you have those really big chicken breasts. I know I've been getting them a lot lately too, and they are too big for one person, or at least for me, they're too big. You can instead use boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I will say the normal thing that I usually say is if you've got them in a package where they're kind of like little bundles where the butcher has taken out the bone and then wrapped the meat back around where the bone was, you're going to want to unroll those so that they are flat. And you're going to want 5 or 6 of them for the equivalent of the 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And that's just because these are a little bit smaller. The thighs are a little bit smaller. And also because that's how many they sell in the packages at my grocery store. So I don't want you to have to put one raw chicken thigh in your fridge to use another day. Just the whole package is going to be good. And I'll just say that the unrolled chicken thighs tend to be a little bit thinner than a full chicken breast, so your cooking time might be a couple of minutes less. But honestly, when it comes to chicken thighs, I find that cooking them a little bit longer tends to make them even better. It just lets all that fat and juiciness kind of melt and get in there, so you can cook them for as long as a chicken breast. It won't matter. Can you use bone-in chicken here? Yes, you can. It is not my favorite. If I'm going to get bone-in chicken breasts, it's because I want the skin to get nice and crispy, and you're not going to get that here. I actually would recommend that you take the skin off before you start. Same with a bone-in skin-on chicken thigh. I would take the skin off. It'll just pull right off of there. Take that off before you start. And for both the bone-in breasts and bone-in thighs, you're just going to need a little bit of extra cooking time at the very end. You'll see at the end of the recipe that the chicken goes into the sauce and simmers for a little while. You're going to have to do it for an extra 5 to 10 minutes if you have the bone in, and of course use that instant read thermometer to make sure your chicken is at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit in the middle. Cut in and make sure it's not pink at the bone if you don't have the thermometer. So we're starting with 4 boneless, skinless chicken breasts, but you can use the boneless thighs, bone-in chicken breasts, or bone-in chicken thighs with those caveats in place. I am going to proceed as though you're using the boneless, skinless chicken breasts. You've got 4 of them. You are sprinkling them all over both sides with half a teaspoon of salt and a half teaspoon of black pepper and also a teaspoon of dried oregano. Instead of the dried oregano, you can use a teaspoon of dried thyme leaves, or you can use Italian seasoning or like a Greek seasoning. Just don't use anything that has salt in it because we are adding salt to the recipe. Or if you are using a seasoning blend that does contain salt, then you're going to want to adjust and put less salt in the other parts of the recipe. Okay, so once you've seasoned up the chicken breast, you're getting out a very large skillet and you're heating a tablespoon of cooking oil, like olive oil or grapeseed oil, a tablespoon of that in there over medium-high heat. And once it is shimmering and hot, you are adding your chicken breasts in there. Space them out so they have room around them, and you're cooking them just until they're well browned underneath. It'll be about 3 to 4 minutes. Then you flip them over and brown the other side another 3 or 4 minutes. Then transfer those browned pieces of chicken to a plate. Note that they are not fully cooked at this point. They're just browned on the outside. We are going to finish them later. Okay, now you're going to reduce the heat down to medium-low, and you're going to add another half tablespoon of cooking oil and a medium onion that you've chopped up. You're going to cook and stir that just until it's softened. It takes like a minute or 2. Then you're adding in 2 cloves of sliced garlic. I like doing the sliced here just so you can actually see those little bits of garlic in there. I love that. Stir and cook the garlic in with that onion for about 30 seconds, and then you're adding in 2 cups of chicken stock as well as the juice of 1 lemon. It's going to be 2 to 3 tablespoons if you have bottled lemon juice instead of a fresh lemon. I'm going to tell you that we're going to be using some lemon zest in a bit too. So if you do have a fresh lemon, you want to use that here. Zest it before you juice it. That's easier. So zest that lemon and then juice it. Put the zest aside and add the juice from the lemon to the mixture in your skillet. So that was 2 cups of chicken stock, the lemon juice from 1 lemon, or 2 to 3 tablespoons, depending if you have the bottled. And you're also adding a teaspoon of salt here, and then scrape the bottom of the skillet to lift up any of the browned bits from the chicken if there are any there. And then you're adding 1.5 pounds of small red potatoes. It's going to be about 10 to 12 of them that you've cut into 1/2 inch wedges. So they're small enough that they're going to cook fairly quickly, right? Okay, so add those into there and stir them all around and try and make sure that they're like mostly submerged. Increase the heat to high and bring it up to a boil, then reduce it down to a simmer and cook, stirring occasionally until the potatoes are just fork tender, like not quite done because they're going to cook a little bit longer. At this point, we're adding in 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream. And I'm going to say that there isn't really a great substitute here because we have that lemon juice in there, so much acidity. Any other dairy product is going to curdle or is likely to curdle, and I don't want that to happen to you. Something with a high fat content like the whipping cream is much less likely to curdle. So you really want to go with that. It'll be the best. I will say, I guess if you don't want to use the cream, you could just add a little bit more stock here. You're not going to get a creamy sauce, but you're going to get a nice like chicken lemon au jus kind of thing, which is lovely also. So that is what you could do. Just don't put the dairy in at all, and then you won't have any curdling problems for sure, right? Okay, so stir in the 1/4 cup of cream and then nestle your browned chicken breasts in amongst the potatoes there. You're going to bring that just up to a simmer and then immediately reduce it down so it's just low and like very gently bubbling, and you're going to cook the chicken in that gently bubbling cream sauce just until it's cooked through to 165 degrees Fahrenheit as read on an instant read thermometer, or you can cut into a piece. It's going to take about 4 to 5 minutes. Once the chicken is done, you're going to stir in 1 teaspoon of that lemon zest and then taste the sauce, and you can add more salt, pepper, and lemon zest if you'd like. You could add a little more lemon juice if you wanted to, but I don't think you're going to need it. But there is one more thing to add, that little bit of vegetable to this dish. You're stirring in 4 cups of baby spinach leaves. Use some tongs and just kind of like shove them in there and around the chicken all over. They're going to wilt right down. And once you've added the full 4 cups, you might have to do it like kind of a cup at a time, mixing it in. Then you take that off the heat and serve. You have a beautiful creamy lemon sauce with the oregano, and then the chicken is in there, the potatoes. It's like a complete meal. And I will just say, because there is that Greek influence a little bit with the lemon and the oregano, I do love to go in with just a little sprinkling of feta cheese on top. Just finish that off perfectly. See what I mean? 1 skillet, 35 minutes, super easy, but also like really pretty and nice. You're gonna love this one so much. I love it so much. I cannot wait for you to try it. Oh, and if you do try it and love it, make sure you head over to the recipe and leave a comment and a 5-star rating. That really helps other people find these recipes because they see the stars on Google when they're searching, and then they're more likely to come over and more likely to find me and all of my recipes and tips and the podcast, all of it. So I would really appreciate that. If you are thinking about making it, head to cookthestory.com/ROTD. You can get the link there. Everything there is arranged by date. So it's helpful to know that today is June 11th of 2025. The link is also in the show notes for this podcast episode, so you can get it there, or in our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/recipeotd. I'm Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, the all new chicken cookbook, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.